You use the treadmill throughout your career. Like, I never liked treadmills.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, even when I try to get into, because we had a Peloton one, even when I try to get into it, man, and so it's just better for me to use the bike.
I stand up. Sometimes I just put it on high resistance, like 100, and stand up for 20 minutes. It serves like a Stairmaster.
You get off with them rubber legs off that.
Yeah. But it's like you get your leg day in too.
No, you get it in, but you get out, you be like this.
Nah. Especially at this age.
What about the dude that send a picture of him sweating with no shirt on after he work out to the group thread?
Who do that for it?
Taco meat, everything, see, Wood?
Hey, fellas, you got that in. Get out of here. Nobody want to see this
with
shit.
the shirt tied around his head, though.
Just got that work in.
Another one coming soon. I shaved and everything, just for y'all boys.
Nothing that you have.
Yeah, y'all can repost it.
No.
I'll repost it.
No, I'm not gonna repost that.
Hold up, limitless. Niggas to me can't pin in it. I fought to hear to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Trust, limitless. Niggas to me can't pin in it. I fought to hear to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key.
C. Wood, man, welcome to the show.
Yeah, man.
Charles Woodson, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner, which I think is probably even crazier to think about the visual of you with Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf.
Randy. Yeah.
That's when Randy had the sunglasses on, too.
Randy was sitting right here, man. Randy was the one that shook me out of it. Like, he like, man, get up. Damn, I'm sitting there, they said my name, and I'm in shock, because, dude, I wasn't winning the Heisman Trophy. Like, that wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying? This was all about Peyton Manning. This was all about Peyton coming back for his last year. He was doing this for the university, doing it to win the Heisman, and that's all you heard about the whole season, Peyton. And I had my little spots here and there, and then towards the end of the season, one-hand catch, and then Penn State came around, then Ohio State came around. I mean, in my mind, I'm the baddest dude out there, but they ain't giving it to a dude who play defense. Just ain't happening. So, like I said, Randy was sitting over there with the shades. My man, I think it was Rudy Riska, he was like, from Michigan. They called your boy name?
Yeah.
Bruh, like, that was crazy. You know what I mean? That was a real moment, yo.
But see, Wood, even before that, though, to get to that point, you talked about transferring to UM. You think about transferring one year and you end up winning the Heisman the next, but why would you leave UM if your kid from Fremont, Ohio, that chooses
to go to Michigan?
And then now you're at the school, you were, freshman of the year, you were parade All-American as a second-year player, you eventually win the Heisman. What happened during that time at UM that had you thinking about transferring?
Man, just basically a kid in his feelings. And I've told the story, but it's crazy because one day I came down to the facilities and I don't know, my back locked up. I don't know why, just my back locked up. So I go into the training room and I tell our head equipment manager, I'm like, man, something's wrong with my back, man. I can barely walk. He's like, oh, Charles, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? You good? You just sit the practice out. You good. I'm like, cool. So practice is about to start. When I go into the locker room, I keep the clothes I wore to class on. So he hadn't told the coach that I wasn't practicing. So I'm walking out, I got my stuff on. The coach like, man, what you got on? I was like, my clothes, I ain't practicing today. What you mean you ain't practicing today? I was like, man, I talked to Smitty. He said I'm good. He don't know what to say. Well, get back in there and put your uniform on. So I'm like, all right, cool. I go back in, change, put the clothes back on, or my uniform on, but I keep my school shoes on. So I get out there, and he looked at me again. Where's your cleats? I'm like, Coach, I ain't practicing. you get back in there and you put your cleats on. So I'm like, man, it's gonna be one of them days. So I go back in, put my cleats on, come out to practice. So practice is going on. And then all of a sudden, I'm standing there, the offense is running a play. I got one of my teammates here, and we talking back and forth, but we really talking about what's going on the field. Hey, Woodson, get over here. He's behind the offense. I'm like, hey, what do you want? Walk over there. Hey, if you're not going to be practicing, you need to pay attention to what's going on. I said, Coach, we were talking about the play. You pay attention. I'm like, all right, I walk back over there. So practice is going on. Same thing. Me and my man, we talking. Now we probably laugh a little, kiki. Charles, get over here. Like, God damn, what is going on? I walk over there. If you're not going to pay attention in practice, then you can just leave. I said, all right. I moseyed my little ass off the field and kept walking. Everybody's looking like, damn, what y'all doing? I walked in, I changed clothes, I went to my dorm. Mom, I'm leaving. I don't want to be here no more. She like, what? She like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here, man. Me and the coach, man, we ain't seeing eye to eye, man. I don't want to be here no more. So my mind was, I had visited Miami. I'm like, I got all of this worked up in my mind. I had a couple of guys on my team that visited Miami too. I'm like, man, after practice, they're like, what's up, man? I'm like, no, man, I'm leaving, I'm going to Miami. We going too.
You got a mutiny started.
Yeah, I'm going too, man. So that thing, and that was right before, that's the week of the Ohio State game.
Wow.
And so then my DB coach, Vance Bedford, calls me down to the office. He says, hey, Coach Carr wants to meet with you. I'm like, man, I ain't talking to dude, man. I don't need, forget it, bro. He's like, no, just come on down, man. He want to talk to you. So I went down to the office. He's like, now listen, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go down to his office. I want you to just shake your head, yes, apologize, come back, and you'll be playing this week against Ohio State. I was like, all right, man, I ain't apologizing, but all right, I go down there. I go down there, go in the coach's office. He's like, hey, do you think you justified yourself by leaving practice? I'm like, yeah, I think I justified myself. I said, man, you ain't got to do me like that. You know what I'm saying? You know what you're going to get out of me. He's like, all right, well, you ain't playing this week. I said, hey, okay. I got up. I walked out. Walked into Vance Bedford's office. Vance said, what'd he say? I said, man, he said, I ain't playing this week. Boy, I told you don't go down there and say nothing. I told you to just nod your head, right? So as soon as he said that, he picked up the phone. He got on the phone, bop, 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 bop. He calls home. Now, I don't know what day this was, but my mom worked a lot. He just happened to catch my mom at home. I don't know why she's not at work. Miss Woodson, I told him, don't say nothing. He went down there, he's not playing this week. You talk to him. And so my mom's like, what's going on? I'm like, man, coach tripping, talking about this and that. I ain't apologizing. And she's like, all right, well, if you're not going to apologize for yourself, do it for me. I said, damn. Damn.
Got mom involved.
Damn. So, man, I got to walk back down there and coach, my bad, da-da-da. He's like, all right, okay. So I end up playing that week. But that was a whole story.
Wood was ahead of his time. Nowadays, them players, they just like that. Like, they got to tend to them players.
Yeah. But now they can leave.
Yeah.
Like, I could have left next day now
Right.
and been at the next university.
Did any of that, I'm trying to figure out the timing of that David Boston ass whipping. Was that frustration from you giving?
No, that was the next year. Yeah.
So that was the next year.
Yeah, so that year we went to the shoe.
Right.
We went to Ohio State. But the Boston fight was the next year.
Which was crazy. But, I wanted to...
David Boston was big as hell.
What?
You should have saw him walk out of that tunnel. You should have saw him walk out of that tunnel. Because, I'm going to match him up, right?
Right.
So we all sitting there, we warming up. He don't have no sleeves, no gloves. He must have put some Vaseline on. The man came walking out that tunnel. My dude was like, you got to guard that motherfucker today.
He'd be a tight end today.
Easy.
Like right now, today, he'd be a tight end. But talking about the Heisman Trophy, how often, or does it ever really hit you that you're the only defensive player in the history, I think it's 86 years of the Heisman Trophy, to win the award? That's one part. And then the legend of number 2, Deion have any influence on that?
In terms of the
Your jersey.
magnitude of the defense, being the only player, Like when we go back to the Heisman house, I actually did a little video this year, and they had RG3, Matt Leinart, they had all these quarterbacks, and so I scanned, with my camera, and then I put a song on. I'll think of the song in a minute. Anyway, and then I panned to my picture, and it's only one.
Right.
So it's like you're around all these, running backs, Barry Sanders, and all of the quarterbacks, a couple of receivers. And it's like I'm by myself, man. Which is crazy. So yeah, I do think about that. But the number, actually, David Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Bama, right?
He was
David Palmer was a bad dude, man. And he did everything. The man might line up at quarterback, he played receiver, he was in the slot, he punt return. He did everything. Mm-hmm. And so I remember watching him, and of course, Deion as well, but I remember David Palmer at Alabama, man. I was like, oh man, I like that Deuce, man. So that was probably the biggest influence on me wearing number 2.
And it's funny, I talk about David Boss. He came to Miami when I was there.
Yeah.
And he little boy me, and sitting with him on the plane, and he came to my house after the game.
Huh? What you mean?
Bro, we walk on the plane, and like I was the party dude on the team.
Yeah.
Like I was to hang out, have a good time. I talk shit and mess with everybody. So he get to the team and he go sit down here on the plane first. I'm walking down the aisle to get on the plane, and then David Debo, he like, hey, sit here. I said, huh? I'm like, sit where? And he points, and he's so. I'm like, okay, he just got to the team. Yeah, he a big dude. I gotta sit next. I sit, we on the 3, so I'm sitting 1 seat away from him, and then he just goes to sleep.
Not on your shoulder. He ain't sleep on your shoulder.
No, he ain't sleep on my shoulder, but he just sleep there. So I kind of sat there playing cards with the boys around us, and then after the game, he like, what y'all doing tonight? And I'm like, man, we going, I'm going out. I went out every night. I'm like, y'all know I'm going out. I'm gonna follow you home.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Bro, follow me home. I changed. He coming out. David Boston now. We got to get him on the show. He's a very interesting person. Follow you home. He changed. I changed. We go out. We party. We have a good time. He just big man me into being friends almost. And I was like, well, we cool, but I don't know if we that cool.
Right.
with all that.
Man, that's funny.
Yeah, and it's crazy, but he was so big. I think he was ahead of his time, like you said, and the man was a monster. But bro, I had to tell the David Boston story. David, come on, mess with us. But did you understand at the time what you was doing with the defensive player of the year, with what happened, like you're saying, Moss and Peyton and all these Hall of Famers sitting up there? Now you could see it as I say 40 plus. You got some grades in the beard.
Yeah.
But now you sit at that time when you sitting there as a young man, did you understand what you were doing, changing football, like setting records in football that weren't broken for damn near 100 years?
Yeah and no. Yeah, I knew what it meant in that moment because, like I said, I'm not going to win this trophy. Like they're not going to give me this trophy, but it haven't been done since. Mm-hmm. So when you think about it, it's like, okay, we've broken the mold a little bit. All right, now there's an opportunity, and there's been some guys that have been up for it.
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, Chase Young, if he hadn't had that suspension at the end of his career, he was going to win it, because every time they talked about him, or talked about the best player, or talked about Ohio State, it was Chase Young, and then all of a sudden this little fluky little whatever happened.
Tyron got suspended too. His year, he played really well.
Yeah, so in that moment for sure, but it hasn't translated to now. You know what I mean? Even with, you look at Travis Hunter at Colorado right now. They're with him playing both ways, they're gonna push it. But when I look at it, he really play offense.
Yes, he's an offensive.
You know what I'm
he plays
saying?
almost every snap of offense.
Yeah. So I got in, and you knew I was gonna get the ball.
Right.
But I didn't play 120 something. I never did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I probably could have played more, but damn. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about me playing defense, I'm different. He's different than me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's gonna be hard for another guy to do, especially with the guys throwing for so many yards.
Hey, Wood, I just want to say, bruh, I'm a fan. Even though we're class of '98 draft, I'm a fan. So I wore my gray and black. I got my Woodson bourbon.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, I got my New Balance, my Threat. I don't know these jeans, but that's besides the point. Check us out. Shut the fuck up,
Look
man.
at them shoes, Fred. Look at those shoes.
These shoes are amazing.
Those shoes say, I'm retired.
They are amazing, bro.
For a long time.
These are amazing.
You might as well be barefoot, man. You know.
Ortho.
Those are called the New Balance 401ks.
I like that.
That's a good
New
one.
Balance, where you at?
That's
Come
a good
see
one.
us.
That's a
But
good
no,
one.
seriously, because we were talking about the Heisman. Why wasn't your former teammate at Michigan good enough? The GOAT, all-time great NFL quarterback, Tom Brady.
I mean, that's my classmate. So we all pull for, you pull for your classmates to play. And Tom could play. Only issue is that when we got there was a guy who was the man. He was going to start. That was Scott Drysback, and then behind him was Brian Greasy. So Brady was, maybe 3 or 4 deep. He wasn't going to play because they had a guy who was going to play. Fast forward to Tom's, which would be his senior year, they had another guy they were bringing in, Drew Henson. And so Drew Henson was all world, everything. And so, I think there was a deal made where, hey man, if I'm coming to Michigan, I need to play too. And so they did, everybody was kind of doing that 2 quarterback system deal. Tom should have never been splitting time with Drew Henson, but because of the way recruiting was, hey man, we got this guy, we want to get him here.
Yep.
We got to show him a little love. And so I think that's a big reason why, the chip that Tom always had on his shoulder, it stemmed from just being a young player trying to break the lineup to finally, I got my shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should be, this is mine now. Greasy's gone. Ain't no more, I think Scott might have still been there, but maybe not. He's not the man anymore. This is my shot. And then now I got a split time? Nah, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of that played into, what people thought about him. And then they talked about his arm not being strong enough, which I never understood because he could make any throw. He could throw the ball 50, 60 yards down the field, but he just had that knock on him. And so for him to go as late as he did, I think 199, man, all of that stuff, man, just snowballed in that young man to where he became that unstoppable force.
And you talk about snowball. Fast forward, I don't know how many years, but you guys meet in one of the greatest games ever played.
Snowball.
The snowball. Snowball into the snowball.
Yeah.
And going full circle. How often does that play or that game haunt you?
Well, it comes up every day. I swear to God, almost every day.
What do you mean?
Every day I run into somebody that's, a Raider fan. Maybe they just are a fan of mine. They'd be like, oh, it was a fumble. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Charles, was it a fumble? Every day, man. Every event I do, it comes up all the time. So I can never escape it. I'm over it, from a sense that no matter what happened, I was gonna go on and do well, but it's like, man, you can't
get it back.
This shit is right there over my shoulder every time. I
Would
leave
you
the
be
house.
over it though if you didn't win a Super Bowl?
If I didn't win a Super Bowl, I wouldn't. I've always said before I won one, I always thought to myself, I couldn't leave the NFL without winning a Super Bowl. Otherwise, my career wouldn't be complete. So I feel like that was an opportunity missed for us to advance. I think we would have gone on to play Pittsburgh at that time. But we end up losing to Tampa. And then when you go, you think you're gonna go right back. And then I think that next season we were 5-11. So it was like, damn, we were here, then bam, right back down. And so you play more years, and it's like, man, it seems like it's getting further. The older you get, it's like it gets further away from you. And so, I was like, man, there's no way, man, I could leave this league and not be a champion.
LeBron at the NFL, I'm like, this motherfucker gonna play till he's 50. Because we came in together. I used to see you out there. I played 13. I'm looking around like, damn, Wood's still going?
It's funny, man.
It's impressive.
I played against Reggie Bush was in Detroit, I think. And it was before the game. We kind of walked up, hey, what's up, Heisman? What up? He's like, man, you like an urban legend. Like, where'd that come from? Like, man, where'd that come from, man?
Not flattering.
Well, I mean, hey, I tell you what, thank God they call your moms, but I do want to talk about that. You said you were surprised they could get in touch with her because she worked so much.
Yeah.
When you won the Heisman in 1997, this comes out, your mom said because she worked so much, there was times she only saw you guys in the morning, you'd be in bed at night. But y'all had monthly meetings.
Yeah.
Where y'all checked in, and I think one of the most beautiful things about your Hall of Fame speech, one, you can't really sing, but you did sing.
But hold on one second. I ain't hold that note for about 2-3 seconds. For about 2-3 seconds, you thought I had something. All right. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know.
And you said, though, you said that they say a woman can't raise a man.
Yeah.
But you call bull crap because your mama raised 2.
Yeah.
Speak a little bit about what Georgia Woodson meant to you and your family and how she helped raise a man who becomes a Pro Football Hall of Famer, great husband, great father, and a man that's doing great things after he retires.
Just get it done, man. Like I feel like that's what I gained from my mom, is just get it done. You know what I mean? Like we all can or have complained about certain things, and you may complain about it before you get into it. But you in the back of your mind, I just got to get it done. And so, talking about my mom and how much she worked, and the hours that she worked, it was all for her kids. You know what I mean? So no matter what she had to do, how many hours, how many days a week, she had to get it done. And I knew she complained. She wouldn't really complain in front of us. She wouldn't cry in front of us. But there would be times where my mom would be in a room, and you may be walking by. I remember like a bathroom was right by her room. And you walk by, and sometimes you can hear my mom was very religious. She's praying. How we gonna make it out this thing? You know what I'm saying? She don't know I'm sitting there like, dang, mom, she crying. But the next morning, she gonna get up and go do what she gotta do. You know what I mean? And so I feel like for me, my entire life has been that. Like, football is we played it. It's a tough game, man. And you got to get your mind right each and every day. Some weeks are harder than others, but I got to get it done. Yeah. And hearing my mom cry is like, I got to get to this work. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of what I was able to see, what my brother was able to see, we saw that. And that's what, you talk about playing 18 years, there's a lot of times where, broken leg, broken shoulder twice, broken clavicle twice, where it's like, I got to get back right because I got to go get it done.
You practiced with the broken leg, the Super Bowl year, though, right? That y'all lost?
I played the playoffs with it. So I had the Tuesday after our last game, because we had the bye week, maybe the Monday after I had the surgery and I put a plate in my leg, and the first playoff game against the Jets, I played. So I played those playoffs. Broken leg, hurt like hell. I remember, during that week, Bill Callahan was like, if you don't practice, you ain't playing. I was like, whoo.
My leg broke.
Man, I'm hurt, man. I'm like, I think I could be ready on Sunday. He's like, I don't want to hear it. Man, I was out there, man, so much pain during the week, but I was like, dude, in our team, I felt like we got the team. I got to be out there and playing, so shit, get it done. And that was that.
You talking about that singing you did. Did you see what you did to DeMarcus Ware?
Did I inspire him?
That's not inspiration. Did you hear him?
Wait a minute.
Both y'all's ass embarrassed. I don't know why everybody think they're sick. What they say? Rappers want to be athletes. Athletes want to be rappers.
Hey, man, you just got to pretend like you in the shower, man.
And DeMarcus did it for Demarius.
Yeah, so we all did. We both did it for love, man. We both did it for
You
love,
embarrassed
man.
yourself for that reason.
To us, boy, we sounded damn good. Yeah, we was good.
Did you practice it, Wood?
I didn't practice it. But
we can tell.
I wasn't. There you go. There you go.
I'm gonna just freestyle it.
No, hey, what's funny is though I was sitting there and I was last, so I had to build myself up to do it, and so Peyton might have been first, so he goes and the next person goes, and so I'm sitting there like I'm kind of going over it in my head. Should I sing? But when you last, you don't know who else you're gonna have left in it because people leave. It's a little different now because they keep it 8 to 10 minutes, so you can keep people's attention span a little bit more. But I'm like, I'm last. So I can't just like be run of the mill when you last. You know what I mean? So by the time it got to the 7th guy, I said, I'm gonna give it up. I'm gonna do it. And so when I stood up there, it was like, man, let's go. Let's get the people what they want, baby.
but what you talk about, like you say, football is a tough sport and all the injuries you went through and all that. What was the toughest time? Because if people just look at what you did, everything, everywhere, all pro everywhere, got in the league, killed it, got in college, killed it, ball in high school, all American. What was that tough time? Because football doesn't look tough to you from the outside looking in.
Probably when I left Oakland, my 8th year, I broke my leg for the 2nd time. And so I missed the last 10 games of the season. And, I remember the GM at the time was like, there's no value to bringing Charles back to this team. I'm like, damn, man, I feel like I done gave it up, for these people, man. You gonna tell me there ain't no value? Like, damn, that was okay. So I'm going into the office, I'm going to free agency. So I'm a free agent because I've been franchised twice. So I'm like, this is me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have my pick of where I wanna go. And man, that phone wasn't ringing.
Damn.
And I'm like, damn. So I'm talking to my agent, Carl Poston. I'm like, Carl, who we talking to? He's like, I've been reaching out, but I haven't really got anything back. I'm like, did you call Atlanta? I lived in Atlanta at the time. I called Atlanta, they say that they're not looking for a corner. I'm like, all right. Gruden was in Tampa. Our GM, Bruce Allen, was in Tampa. So I'm like,
Easy.
No brainer.
go to Tampa. So I took a visit there. I'm like, man, this is gonna happen. And so that didn't happen. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. I remember during the process, Jacksonville. Remember they had the defensive line, they had Stroud and I think Henderson.
Yeah. You slap yourself before the game.
Yeah. And linebacker, fast,
Mike P.
Was that Mike P?
Mike
I think it was Mike
P.
P.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when we had the top
Mathis
defense.
was, yeah.
Shane was
Mathis.
there, the whole thing, yeah.
I said, that's the spot. We called down there. We don't need a corner. I said, nah, I know y'all need a corner. And y'all signed a corner for Minnesota.
Brian Williams,
I
B
said,
Dub.
y'all motherfuckers.
B Dub.
I said, y'all don't need a corner?
Heavy cover 2.
Y'all signed a corner for like Tim. I remember, I'm like, that's when I was like, man, like you got to be kidding me. And so my agent called and he's like, hey, Green Bay called. Like, man, I'm not going to Green Bay. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, the Green Bay want to bring you in. I'm like, Carl, man, you can call me back, man. Like, talk to me about Seattle. What's Seattle doing? Talked to him a couple days later, nothing. All right, let me visit, because now I'm on my last leg. Now I'm like, all right, let me go to Green Bay. I go to Green Bay, visit around there, and then it was the Tampa kind of. I'm thinking, Tampa's like, no, they out. Like, wow. I couldn't believe it, yo. So then Green Bay came, and they started talking numbers. The numbers made sense. I'm like, damn, all right, look like I'm going to Green Bay. And so I go to Green Bay, and man, I didn't want to be there, man. My spirit was fucked up, yo. Like, my spirit was down. And so I called my mom, I called my agent, I called my financial advisor, I called my cousin, I called James. I said, man, I'm thinking about retiring.
Dang.
Your mom's like, all right, well, baby, whatever you want to do. I called my financial advisor. All right, Charles, you sitting here, man, you good, da-da-da. I called James, he said, shit, bro, whatever we got to do going forward, he's my business partner too, shit, we good. And then I called Kevin Poston. So it's Carl, and then it's Kevin. I called Kevin, I said, Kev, man, I think I'm done, bro. He was like, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, man, I don't want to be here, man. I think I'm gonna retire. He's like, he said, oh, I hear you. He said, I hear you. He said, but you signed the contract. I said, yeah, I signed the contract. He said, well, you've basically given them your word that you're gonna play there. And I was like, Yeah, but I mean, the season, he was like, you at least got to give it a year. And I was like, that makes sense, And so we hung up and then went to practice, and then I was still kind of got into arguments with coaches. And so I think in my mind, I was trying to find a way out.
You're trying to sabotage it.
Yeah, I was trying to find a way out. And, time passed and things eased up, and then it became like one of the best moves I could have ever made. But that time, after that 8th season to like that first month or two of my first year in Green Bay, bro, that was rough.
Why? Because the Raiders gave up on you, or what? Like,
it wasn't necessarily that the Raiders gave up on me. That pissed me off, but it was that nobody valued me for what I was as a player. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, you know how I used to see that ticker in free agency? It'd be like, the top free agents left. This guy, and I'd be like, damn, this motherfucker.
They must be doing it by alphabetical order.
Because I've been last all my life with them. So maybe they doing it by the letter. Bro, they wouldn't have me in the top like 10, 15. I may be 75th free agents. I'm like,
damn.
They trying to say I'm sorry? Like, that's really what they saying to me, you know what I mean? So I was like, man, that blew my mind, man.
Well, I'm about to let y'all in on something. Charles Woodson is my favorite player. Charles, we have had this conversation before.
Yeah.
Come. That's my job.
There we go.
That's my job. He knows it. Like, we talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and C Wood just sat down, had drinks, talked about it.
I love it.
But he also played for my best friend.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would call Joe all the time, be like, hey, man, what is he like? Like, what does he do? Like, what's the workout or whatever? Another thing, he was in Sports Illustrated, obviously, when he won the Heisman. Yeah. It was on the wall of my dorm in college.
Really?
Yeah, I'm number 2. Like, I wanted to do everything he did. I wasn't gonna play no offense though. Hey, listen, I went to college.
You wasn't about to do what he did.
Hey, Chance, I went to college with a ball fade. I got an all even because of Wood. Hey, and I couldn't even wave up on the side. I was brushing the piss up. But see, Wood, man, I remember going to Kevin Falk's house when I was in
Kevin Falk.
Yeah, when I was in college, because all of y'all were on the parade All-American.
Yeah.
It was you, Randy Moss, K. Falk, like that team. Like I remember that team was stacked, and then you.
K.O. Spice.
Yeah,
we had a lot of guys.
Crazy, you know. So you do that. So you were All-American in high school. You win the Heisman as a defensive player. You're the top 5 pick. At that point, it has to be tough too, because it's like the first time the world wasn't acknowledging that you were one of the best to do it.
Yeah.
You know, but in your tenure in Green Bay, you become the defensive player of the year, obviously a captain, and you win a Super Bowl. What was the journey like back to the top for you?
It was beautiful. It really was, because that first year, like I told you, the first couple of months or first couple of weeks, month or so was rough. And then I felt like everybody, other teams, like they saw me a certain way. He can't do this anymore, da, 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 da. So I ended up with 8 interceptions my first year in Green Bay. And I was like, I knew I could do it, you know what I mean? Because in Oakland, you know, we played a lot of man-to-man. I didn't get a whole lot of opportunities because they weren't gonna throw the ball my way. And then when I got to Green Bay, it was like, all right, this dude washed up, he ain't doing no more. They started coming over there. I'm like, okay. I started picking the ball up. Another one. So then I got to where it was like, my old self, like being in college, I expected to get an interception. I got back to like expecting to get interceptions, and then to rattle off 8. And then all of a sudden, I got comfortable. I got comfortable in Green Bay. I was around Al, who was a veteran, but we had some young guys in there. Nick Collins and then Tremont Williams came, and so I was able to not only get back to, all right, this is Charles Woodson, right? But I was actually able to show the young guys what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? How it was, like during practice. Charles, why did you pick that off? You know what I'm saying? What did you see in that? It's like, dude, we just saw it in the film. Like, I'm not about to let them catch something I just saw in the film.
Right.
And so you get used to making those plays, and I felt like that's when those guys really, their games really took off because
Nick
they're
was a
like,
monster, bro.
that makes sense. Like, okay. So then we started competing in practice. We picking off 5 and 6 balls every practice, and then in the games we was tops in the league in interceptions for a couple of years, man. Nobody was getting the ball, like we was getting it. So to get to that point, bringing Joe in, you mentioned Joe, and me and Joe, we bonded, man. I love Joe. He's a great teacher. You know what I'm saying? He was a great teacher to the other guys as well. And then to get to that point where Dom came in with the 3-4, and then I was cooking then.
Inside too.
I was cooking because at heart I'm a football player. Like I'm just corner, what's this or that. I can play football. Just put me on the field, coach.
I gotta ask, because you said corner, what else? To be an all-pro Hall of Fame corner, then go to safety. Is that you asking? Is that a coach coming up to you and saying that? Because that's a weird thing, because everybody know safety can't play corner, but
Yeah.
a corner can play safety. So it's just saying, hey, Wood, you can't be on that edge no more. Come on inside.
Nick Collins got hurt. I remember Nick Collins got hurt. And so I was already moving around. I would play safety at times anyway. And so you kind of got to the point to where you could feel the team kind of easing you a certain way too. You know what I mean? But in my mind, I'm like, I play whatever. It really didn't matter. So, the transition to doing it, there wasn't a problem with it. And then when Green Bay let me go, that's what everybody was trying to bring me in as anyway. And I was like, cool, I want to still play some football. So if I'm gonna play safety, if you want me to play safety, I got you.
Right.
Let's go.
Joe Witt tells a story of, I guess when you win the Defensive Player of the Year, there's some award bankers, maybe it's in Kansas City, I don't know what the hell it is, but Rex Ryan got up and said that Darrelle Revis was the best corner in football. I guess that was the year you won
2009.
Yeah, the year you won the Defensive
2009,
Player
yeah.
of the Year. And Joe was like, yeah, that might be right. But Charles Woodson was the best defensive player.
Yeah.
And I think it goes to your point, though, that you're a football player.
I feel like, and what Darrelle Revis did that year is outstanding. But in terms of the game, I felt like you could have put me in line with the MVP because of what I did. 9 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 3 touchdowns, and the tackles or whatever. Like, everybody ain't doing that. Right. You know what I mean? And so it's like I heard him. You got to speak up for your guy. Like, it's great. Darrelle was an awesome player. I would never take nothing from Darrelle, but dude, like, I sit back, I ain't gonna lie, I sit back to myself sometimes and be like, shit.
Which is a motherfucker.
You know what I mean?
We had Israel Adesanya on the show, and our producer was talking to me about it yesterday, and he was like, man, sometimes you gotta remind yourself you're a motherfucking savage.
Dog, it's real talk. And like, just in terms of, corners or whatnot, like, man, I don't take no back seat to nobody when it comes to corner football player. I just don't, and you can like who you like and you can put this person up. Not to me. You know what I mean?
Hey man, we are 9 weeks deep and we are still partnered with DraftKings. And you know what it is. Any new customer that uses the promo code PIVOT, you place a $5 bet on anything NFL, you instantly win $200 in bonus bets.
And y'all know I love the same game parlays, multiple bets in the same game. You have a chance of winning even more money. But you know what else I love now? The no sweat bet. Lose and you get a bonus bet. Man, DraftKings, watch out for it.
Chan, I love that bet too. But even more importantly, all you gotta do is get an account. Just create your account on this little device right here, and you're ready to go. Make it happen.
DraftKings Sportsbook. Any new customer uses the promo code PIVOT, places a $5 bet, instantly $200 in bonus bets. Back to the show.
Well, just to go further on Channing's point, playing corner and safety, 14 years at corner, 4 years at safety, that 18-year pension got to be crazy. But
It's a monster.
I already fucking know. But even more than that.
You knew Freddie T was gonna get to pitching.
Yeah, hey, that pension.
That's what old people talk about.
Hey,
New Balance 401k.
New balance, pensions,
Right on time.
and they go, and y'all guarding. Both of y'all got gardens.
because I know the transition. Shut the fuck up. I know the transition because in my 13 years, I got out right before the CBA in 2011. And you continue to play a few more years after that. But to my point is, you're able to see the evolution of the game. Like the game started to change because of the rules started to change more. So you come from old school football and you're able to play pretty much kind of what football is today. Through what lens, how do you view the game as it is today? You know, from an analyst perspective or a former player, how you look at today's football?
Over the years, it's always been catered to the offense. And so I think even then, or you know, after that CBA, that 2011, it even went further because that's when the concussions, like really, there was a really big emphasis on concussions. And that's when we really took note of it then too. Like, man, all them times I got my bell rung, right, that was concussion.
Yep.
So the league definitely leaned into it, you know, and so I think couple that with the fact that the game is so spread out now. You know what I'm saying? With trying to get your best players on the field, them protecting the players. That's why those numbers, you know, skyrocketed. Right. You know, and then for us, you know, defensive backs, you got to keep your hands off of them. You know, we're just watching the Minnesota and the Niners.
Yep.
Man, they called so many defensive, you know, pass interferences or holding or illegal contacts. You know, and you know, even though a receiver may run directly into you, they're gonna call you, you know, for illegal contact. Another aspect that changed is if I would have came into the league in 2011, 2012 after that CBA, man, I might have played 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because no tour days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Only so many days in pads. Like, dude, it's unreal. And I got some of that. You know what I mean? Continuing to play. I remember as a rookie, I used to always say to myself, man, I know when I retire, it's going to be during training camp. Because I hated training camp. And then to get to that point to where it changed, like, whew, man, I could do this forever.
You are a Michigan great.
Yeah.
One of the greatest to ever do it. There's an article it's written by somebody from Ohio State that actually says if they could ever go back and keep one guy that was from Ohio that went to Michigan, it was you. I think it came down to you, Desmond Howard, and somebody who played running back. But the dude that wrote the article was like, we had Archie Griffin. We ain't trading him. Right, we want to get C. Wood. But, bro, like the stuff that's going on with Michigan is different this year. Jim Harbaugh gets suspended early on in the year. Now they're at the thing of stealing signs and buying tickets for games. As an alum, how do those things affect you? Like, do you pay attention to those things? Do they matter to you? Or are you kind of like, hey, man, that's Michigan and what Michigan is doing now, it is what it is?
Man, I'm Michigan through and through. You know that. Yeah. So, yeah, I listened to it, and Michigan they have a really good team. You know what I mean? Like, make no mistake about it. I think we still have something to prove because our schedule isn't, you know, the toughest. So we still got some things to prove, but we got a good team. And so I just look at it as one of those things where when you're at the top, they come for you. They come for you in a lot of different ways. So whether it's the teams you play getting up for you, or whether it's somebody trying to find some little chink, you know what I mean, to say, they ain't doing it right. You know, they beating people too bad. You know, and it's funny because we played Michigan State and the stuff had come out right before then. And then it's like, okay, so you say we stealing the signs, so we ain't stealing no signs, man, right? And we gonna beat their ass 49-0. Or what you gonna say now? So, you know what I mean? Right. What are you gonna say? Right. So yeah, I pay attention to it, but I just don't feel like, in this instance, I don't feel like with elaborate a scheme that they say it is, I don't feel like Jim would put himself in the position to where everything is scanned now anyway. Like, we're going to put this elaborate scheme together, and every ticket you buy, you got to scan your phone, it's coming back to you, and all these little algorithms, they're gonna find out who's doing what, any discrepancy. I don't feel like he will put himself out there. Now, I don't know what was going on, you know what I mean? So I can't speak definitively about that, but I just don't believe that Jim would do that. So yeah, I pay attention to it, but.
So in college, you can't steal signs? We're talking about signals.
Everybody steals signs. What they're saying about Michigan is you're not supposed to send people to games of other teams in order to steal signs. And they're trying to say that they've had people on staff buy tickets to games, which is dumb. Like, why would I buy a ticket to a game?
There's no college scouting.
Yeah, there's definitely college scouting.
They're scouting, but you're not supposed to be able to send people to games with that particular agenda.
Yeah, like cell phones and taping. But I mean, if you look at guys now, I mean, you putting up signs and every offense, not every offense, but most offenses now, they go up to the huddle.
Hey, bro, we went
So why wouldn't I be looking over there too? Because I'm gonna figure out somebody over there is the one you looking at.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to.
I went to a game Saturday.
Dinosaur Oprah is a run. Next time I see Dinosaur Oprah, I'm blitzing my motherfucking guy.
I watched two dudes do the gritty on the sideline this Saturday. The dude slapped, and he looked to the side. The coach is over there.
Gritty.
Yeah.
I'm about to shoot my
Next time I see that looked like run to me. Ain't no way you doing that for pass.
No.
Oh man, come on, man.
Hey, Wood, your post career, man, is killing. Like Freddie T mentioned.
I'm all out.
Yeah, Freddie T mentioned.
Man, sorry I didn't bring the refreshments. I told y'all, man, my house is a little beat up.
I got what I could get, man. This is a hell of an old fashioned.
Wood, I think when I was. Were you at the Green Bay game, actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they treat you like royalty there.
Yeah,
what is it like, man, to be embraced by these organizations, but also that they are also pouring into the fact that Charles Woodson, the person and the businessman, is thriving as well?
I'm blessed, man, because to be able to play for the University of Michigan, play for the Raiders, play for the Packers, like these storied franchises, these big time, university, like, man, who gets to do that? You know what I mean? But both Michigan, the state of Michigan has embraced what I'm doing with Intercept Wines, Woodson Whiskey. When you talk about Green Bay and Wisconsin, the stadium, you talk about Las Vegas, the stadium, they've all just, it's like the Raiders have the saying, once a Raider, always a Raider. But I feel like the other organizations or the teams that I played for treat me the same way. And they've embraced it wholeheartedly. Like for us to be the official whiskey of the Las Vegas Raiders, after doing it, finding out that I'm the first former player to have a spirit line to be the official spirit of a stadium or NFL team, like, it's huge. And I think partly because I have a great product, but also because of, how I went out there and played the game, for the Raiders as a player, that they embrace it. You know what I mean? And so the fans have been like incredible. Like on my Instagram, on my Twitter, man, every week, during the week, during games, I see people that post about each of my labels, and it's just been truly, man, a blessing, because you don't get anywhere without the people, without the fans. So.
Bro, to that point, some people know the Raiders, though, with the Davis family, Al Davis and Mark now, Al passed. But, like, we've talked to people in the past about the Jones, with Jerry and them the owner being so much involved. You were a part of that, where Al was drafting people, just like Jerry was drafting people. Is that good for organization? With what you saw in was Oakland at the time, but now the Raiders, like, the GM, the owner, it overlaps.
I think it was good early on for Al, because Al made a lot of decisions that at that time, Al wanted he wanted speed, he wanted somebody that could chuck that ball down the field, and he wanted to play man to man. And during those times, it was great, because you can just put athlete on athlete out there, man, and I'm just gonna beat you. I'm faster than you, I can outrun you, and I'm just gonna lock your guys down. And it got 3 championships out of it. But the game changes. Offenses are a little bit more creative nowadays, and so you can't just do things a certain way. You can't draft players a certain way. And so I think that time passed them. And so in terms of Jerry, you know, I actually love Jerry because he gonna give you some good stuff every week. But for him to be right after the game with a press conference, and then Monday morning he got another radio, he just give you gems all the time. But I think in terms of him and the hand that he has over an organization, I think it handicaps your coach. And he's the GM, so I mean he's gonna be able to do whatever he wants to, but your coach is really, he's got his hands tied behind his back because he can't necessarily move the way he wants to, because Mike McCarthy might come out and say something today, and tomorrow Jerry gonna be like, you know, well, we think this. He'd be like, well, wait a minute, Mike just said this yesterday. But you gotta go with whatever Jerry say because he's the man, Jerry. You know what I mean? So I think in terms of, you know, the coaches and the staff really having the freedom to put their fingerprints on everything, it handicaps them.
Owner operator.
Yeah.
Hey, Wood, we talked about Vegas. We talked about Jerry and the Cowboys. We talked about Mike McCarthy, who you've played for. Super Bowl. A few of us picked the Cowboys earlier on. Now we're at the midway point of the season.
Yeah, I think everybody was for a minute.
Right, but with that,
out.
2 parts. I want to know your pick for the Super Bowl. And also, is Woodson Wines or bourbon doing anything during the Super Bowl? Because the pivot gonna be there.
Man,
we gonna pull up.
Woodson Whiskey and Intercept.
Woodson Whiskey and Intercept.
We're gonna be all over the Super Bowl.
Let us know.
Vegas.
Yeah, well, 100%.
We there.
It's gonna be the Intercept Woodson Whiskey takeover for the Super Bowl. But so whatever y'all want to do, y'all let me know. We in.
We'll be there. We'll pull up.
What was your question? I forgot.
The Super Bowl
You had
pick.
me think about. I'm working. Man.
He went right in the pitch, man.
I'm working.
You get addresses
Yeah.
now. I'll take a case.
I got y'all. We worked that out. Super Bowl. So I love Philly. I love Philly. Last year, Philly was my pick to win it. This year, I'm really going back with the same 2 teams, Philly and the Chiefs.
Okay.
And I'm rolling back with Philly. I'm rolling back with Philly, man. And there's aspects about the team that I don't like, but they just helped themselves out by trading for Byard. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Hey, I call him Suge Knight. Howard Roseman, he won them all.
How's he do I think about my career and I'm like, man, we never made moves like that. You know what I'm saying? Like continually trying to get your team better. So I'm gonna go with Philly to win the whole thing.
By the way, also, just part of my Charles Woodson fandom. Remember Coach Tomlin talked about me and him being the last people on the field?
Man, Mike didn't want me either, man.
Hey, first off, you know, I tried.
I'm just saying.
I tried.
I'm just saying. Where my camera at?
You got one right here.
Mike, you ain't want me neither, bro.
Hey, I tried.
Hey, no, hold on. Troy called me. Troy.
We were working.
Charles, man, we would love to have you, man. I'm like, man, my man Troy. Man, yeah, man, we gonna make this happen. Man, Mike, man. All right, enough of
we
that.
tried. But you know why I was the last person?
What is that?
I went and found him.
Yep.
Really?
Yep, like it was something tweeted. Green Bay people think I hate Green Bay. I don't know why. It was something tweeted, right? And they called me an a-hole because as Aaron is kneeling, I'm running, but they think I'm running to the locker room. I was running to find him because he was hurt.
Yeah.
So I found him, I dapped him off, I told him congrats, and then I left. And so that's why me and Mike T was the last people out there because he had to go shake Mike's hand. I found him and we rode. No, real talk. He's my favorite player of all time. But anyway, right now, the Raiders have another star in Devontae Adams, who has recently sort of caught heat because they won 2 games in a row. And he said, look, man, I want my greatness to influence the team's greatness. And I feel like when I'm playing at a high level and it's allowing the team to reach a certain level, that's where I'm the best. And then they go lose to the Bears with a backup quarterback who's an undrafted free agent Division II guy. What would be your advice to Devontae, though, in a situation like this? Because you've been on teams and been the best player, been really good, and those teams aren't being successful. What would be your advice to getting through this sort of adversity for a player like him who's on a Hall of Fame trajectory?
Well, first, I didn't like that after the 2 wins. You know what I mean? I don't think it's ever the right time after a win to talk about me and what I should be doing for the team. I think that is an opportunity for you to get back to the building, go get Hoyer or go get O'Connell and say, hey man, let's sit down and let's peep this out. Here's what we have. All right, I was doubled on this play, but if you can stay with me a little longer, I'm going to undress. Or, dude, make me the first read on this play. I'm open, because a lot of times Devontae's open. He's open right now. But if your first read is over here, you don't see it. But if you got the matchup, you need to be looking at 17, right? Now, in terms of this last week, you can act an ass if you want to, because that's what they look like. You know what I'm saying?
He said,
you can say, hey, man, you can say whatever you want to say, man, because there's no way you should go to Chicago. And remember last year when Baker came and he was in LA for 36 hours and beat the this is
last minute drive.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the same thing. And not to take anything away from, you know, the young quarterback who gets in and helps his team win, but we're not supposed to lose that game.
Yeah.
And so for my advice is that, because I played in Oakland, man, and we lost a lot of games. And so, you know, all you can really do is what you can do. You know what I mean? There's constructive criticism that you can take to your head coach, you can take to your position coach, you can take to the quarterback. And you handle that within those walls. Now, I don't have any problem with him after a loss coming out and saying what we look like. You can say whatever you want to say. Don't do it after the win. But after a loss, man, you got to have at it, because there is a certain way it should look if we out there getting whooped. If I am the guy and what we're doing is not working, find me.
Right.
If you got to force it to me 13, 14 times, 15 times, find me.
Yeah, because I'm better than him.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that 100%. So I hope they got it's been too long for that organization to be where they are and to continue to go through the same thing. The fans they're erupting with just disgust at the fact that they went on the road and lost to Chicago last week. And so now they got to go see the Lions. The Lions ain't playing around. Like, they got whooped, but that happens at times, but this gonna be a different story, man. So
And it's in Detroit.
It's in Detroit.
You
Yeah.
know, like, so we have friends of the show on the Raiders. Max Crosby is one of our guys, absolute monster.
Dog.
You know, needs to be talked about as up there with the best rushers in the game.
He should be up there in the
Yeah,
conversation.
with the Myles Garrett's, the
Yeah,
T.J. Watts, and those guys. And he had, obviously, a huge pivot in life to where he is now with his sobriety,
Yeah.
being a husband, family man, one of the best in the game. But we like to ask our guests who have had these amazing lives and careers, like, what was their biggest pivot? So if you could pinpoint a moment or moments that, if these things don't happen, Charles Woodson isn't here. Charles Woodson isn't the Hall of Famer. Charles Woodson isn't the great man that he is. What were some of those things, or the thing that you point to that you say, this moment had to happen in order for me to be who I am?
I think one is going back to leaving Oakland. You know, I think that moment had to happen. You know, even though I never intended to ever leave Oakland, I think that was an opportunity for me to grow. But within that time, my wife now, I had met her probably 2 years before that. But during that time, that's when we really connected. And then 2009, my first son was born. So leaving Oakland, having my wife there, my girl at the time, when I first went to Green Bay, and then having my first son, like that little stretch is, you know, what I look to is like, man, if I don't have those 3 or 4 years for those things to happen, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what happens if I stay in Oakland.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no clue, because I was still young. I was still doing my thing. You know what I mean? And that was a wake-up call, you know, leaving there, that, man, you ain't all what you think you are, bruh. You need to You need to hone in a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those things help me hone in and get to where I need to be, you know.
You know, we've had conversations about your career, life. You know how I feel about it, how I feel about you as a player, as a big brother as well, man. Like, I've been excited as hell. Like, we was like, hey, man, like, we could leave, because we do shows in one place all the time. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
we could leave this week. We got to get somebody. I was like, don't even trip.
Yeah.
And, you know, so, man, the fact that you sat down with us, man, shared that wisdom, told your story is an honor for me.
How many was I down on the totem pole before y'all got to me? I was like, man, we're going to call
I
Troy.
ran up on you in the
Nah,
casino. I went in, he was having a private wine tasting or something. I ran up in there. Hey, security trying to jam me up. I need to holler at my dog over there.
Okay, I'm
I
glad
shot
you
my
admitted
shot
it
then.
because he dropped your name 700 times in the thread.
Did it?
You know I can hit C. Wood. I can always holler at C. Wood. Charles there, we got to get C. Wood. I'm like, nigga, okay, you know him. We understand that.
I shot the man a text.
Hey, but well, hold on. Let me get on him, though. I'm going to get on him because he shot me a text the other day. Yeah. Bop. Hit it right back. Well, I hit my man like too long ago, man. Hey, Ryan, man.
It was
Hey, man, Ryan, NFL, you know, NFL.
very-
What show? What is
It was inside the NFL.
Inside the NFL.
He did.
Hey, I said, boy, hey, man,
He
you
did.
doing it?
He did.
Hey.
That was my bad.
Left you on red. Green, them little 3 dots.
Hey, see, well, you can't tell her. That's supposed to be me.
Hey, you know what? You know I got an Emmy too, right? Yeah. I almost took a picture and said, like, man, hey, I got an Emmy too. I got it.
Making sure your Wi-Fi on.
I would.
I'm on airplane
To
mode.
his defense, you know, I'm Mr. Flowers Freddie. The motherfucker got 10 jobs.
He got
He's
jobs.
overworked.
He got jobs. He got
RCDC,
jobs.
Inside the NFL, First Take, Get Up.
I'll be honest though, when I
Hey,
went to text
hey,
him,
you know
I
what
did
I'm saying?
see it. One time I went to text him something, I was like, dang.
Hey, Fred.
I did miss my dog.
I got many jobs too.
Yeah. That's gotta get it right.
I did miss my dog.
That's love, bro.
Nah,
That's
man,
love,
appreciate
man.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Wood,
Yeah,
that's
it's
love.
all good, man.
James, we ready for you, baby. Let's go. Let's go, James.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Trust, limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up.